Hi, my name is Larry Meyer, and I'm the owner of Larry Meyer Construction Company, LLC. And today we're going to talk about, we're started a new project, foundation's in, and we're ready to pound nails. At this point in time, we would have given you a guideline on what products to have picked. Your windows would have been selected when we first started the foundation process, hopefully. Now you're ready to go. We would have you now working on what you're going to do for your siding, your soffit, and your fascia. And the other thing would be the exterior doors. And along with that is the colors that go with that. Shingles, obviously, you get to look at charts, and you've got so many choices. But when it comes to exterior doors, you have a myriad of paint colors. So that's all part of that process. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to square up that foundation. We're going to make sure that that foundation is square, comes out to the dimension that is on the plan. If we don't start out square, we're going to fight that battle until the end of the project. So you go through that, concrete poured walls normally is what we would use. It's hard to keep that mass perfectly in line in different spots. The corner might be off a little bit, wall might have a little bit of bow in it. So there's kind of an in-depth process to go through to make sure that everything comes out straight and square. When that's done, then you're set to go ahead and put, be it knee walls, which is a short wall that, as your foundation might step to go to a walkout basement or to have exposed wall downstairs where you have windows in. So those walls we would call knee walls. So you would have some of those in. You might have full height wall downstairs because you have a walkout. Then you're going to have the sill plate, which is going to be a piece of green treated product that's going to sit on wherever it's going to come in contact with the concrete foundation. And so then when you've got all that on, you throw in a couple of support walls downstairs that you're going to need to carry your floor system, and you're ready to go for the floor. Basically, in a floor system, you're going to have three choices of product. You're going to have 2x10s, 2x12s, which is standard dimensional lumber. You're going to have a floor truss system, and you're going to have a version of TJIs, which is what we normally call them. It's I-joist. And each one of those different types of systems serve a different purpose. Dimensional lumber always was used years ago before the manufactured products came in. But what it does is it's going to be your least expensive approach. It's going to limit the spanning capability, how far you're going to go between foundation and support walls downstairs. And it will probably have a little bit more of a crown to it. They're not going to be all perfectly straight. Lumber moves. So what more common today would be the floor truss or the I-joist. And the determination on which one of those that you use really comes down to spanning capability. How far do you want to go downstairs between your outside wall and a beam? Floor truss most commonly is used when you want a larger span and you're going to have access for ductwork, because it will leave you an opening in the floor system so that your HVAC guys can run their ductwork within the confines of that floor system as opposed to putting it below. After we've got the floor system in place, using whether it's I-joists or trusses or whatever, our recommendation is that you use 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood. And we always use plywood. Our experience is that you have, in the event that you hit a rainy stretch while you're building the house and you get a lot of water on that floor, there's less swelling and movement with plywood than there is with OSB. OSB has more of a tendency to swell at the edges, and in some instances actually you end up having to plane those edges down. And usually you can avoid that by using plywood. And for our installation, we always glue and screw that subfloor down. We never glue it and nail it. We feel it's a sturdier floor, less susceptible to squeaks. Nails sometimes, what happens when you get a squeak in the floor normally is you get movement in the floor, and that movement is on a nail. And as that plywood slides up and down on the shaft of that nail, and say that nail was shot in and it blew out the wood a little bit or whatever, so it's not holding real tight, As that floor goes up and down, you walk across it. As that moves, it goes up and down on the shaft of that nail, and that's how you get ee. So that's the cause of a floor squeak. And so by screwing it, you can usually tell right away if that screw has bit, whether you've hit what you need to hit, and if you don't, you can back it back out.